What's up? What's up? All right. Saying Q and A. Use type your question. Send this message. What's going on? What's going on? Oops, that's not what I want to do. What's up? What's up? Want to go ahead and get started. We are going to be looking at some live Q&A. I'll get some live Q&A going on. Internet is in and out a little bit here currently in Playa del Carmen, Mexico. Enjoying some of this beautiful sunshine down here. It's good to get away from cold weather. So we want to go ahead and get things going. If you have questions, go ahead and put your questions in here. Be on here for a little bit. And then we're going to go get out here and get some good Jamaican food. So I know it's weird. We're in Mexico and I'm getting Jamaican food, but this is really good Jamaican restaurant. And I've went back twice so far and still haven't been able to get my food because it's so packed. So hopefully I talked with the owner. She told me to come back at 8:30. So I'm going to be in line at 8:30 to get some food. It was there on Monday. I think it was Monday. And food was phenomenal. So I'm going back today. So this is basically it, man. We're going to go ahead and ask. I want you guys to put your questions in here. I'm going to answer your questions live, so you can get real help in your real estate business, whether it's wholesaling, whether it's Airbnb, whether it's not you're trying to raise money for a project, whatever the case may be. Excuse me. Go ahead and type your questions in, and I will see them here on the side, and you can go ahead and hit me up. Thank you. Hey, what's going on, Ramona? For sure. How about chat? I don't know what that is. Let's check and see what it is. Okay, perfect. We popped out chat. That's weird. All right, cool. So we're on here specifically for you guys. So we're going to be doing this every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You come on here, you can ask questions, and we'll probably stay on here just for a little bit. And if there's no questions, we'll pop off. But we just want to make sure that we're at least providing some value for you guys, so you can, so that you can, you have a place to turn to if you have some questions. I had someone ask me earlier today about the process going through it. I think she's going through a foreclosure, a pre-foreclosure deal, and she wanted some questions answered. So that is something that you can bring to the table. So if you don't have anything this week, keep in mind, every week we're going to be doing live Q&A. I don't care if it's one person on here or if it's 1,000 people on here. I want to be able to just provide value and provide an outlet for you guys to get questions answered. And hopefully one day we'll be able to structure this where people can come in here and actually be on the screen here. I'm new to the group and I'm learning. Where should I start? Okay, perfect. So what's going on? Glenn and Chris. So happy holidays to you as well. If you're in our wholesaling, if you got that wholesaling course, then start from the very beginning. Honestly, just follow. It literally walks you step by step. So kind of clarify: you're new into the course, or you're here for the very first time, Glenn? Chris, you definitely should get mentorship. It'll save you a lot of time. It doesn't have to be expensive. It can be something where you're going a part of a group and you're getting mentored for free from an individual but you're doing the work, right? That could be an option if that person does that. There's so many different ways that you get mentorship, but I promise you, it's better for you to save time. You actually save yourself money by paying for mentorship. I know this sounds counterintuitive, it doesn't sound right, but I promise you will, because at least in my experience, the first year that I tried to do it without mentorship, then I got into situations where it could have been a deal, where if I had a mentor, I could have went back to them and said, hey, this is what they said. This is what happened. This is what transpired on this contract, where the person is in this situation, and I didn't have the tools. I wasn't equipped to be able to help them. So therefore I lost out on the deal. It's costing me money. So, all right, Glenn, first time here. So here's what it is. This whole forum is about you asking questions, right? So the first thing that you need to understand is, do you understand even what wholesaling is? I actually had someone that was in our course and still didn't quite understand what wholesaling is. So to understand exactly what wholesaling is, and I hope that's what you're talking about, because if it's not, I can do Airbnb or raising private capital, which is a little, you need to have some good foundations before you do that. But if we're talking about wholesaling, and you can text me in there if that's what you're talking about, you need to understand what the process looks like, okay? As a wholesaler, your whole entire job, your existence, the reason why you are there is to be a marketing professional and bring sellers to buyers. That's your entire job, okay? You should not be, unless you're doing some other things, on a typical wholesale deal, you're not going to be spending your money or a lot of your money. You're definitely not going to be fixing the property unless you're doing one of those other techniques. Your whole job is to market, either through paid social media, either through just free social media, bandit signs, going out to tax auctions, pulling up lists, cold calling, putting out door hangers. However you know how to market, your job is to find the individual, the seller that wants to sell their property and needs to sell it quickly for a discounted price. You have to understand that that person is going to sell that property to you for a discounted price, because they're trading the money that could go into their pocket for speed. You have to understand that they're trading the money for speed, or in some particular cases, they cannot sell the property any other way. So meaning that the property is so bad, it looks so horrible that a regular retail buyer would not want it, okay? So if that's the case, then obviously you can get that property, and you get that property under a purchase and sales agreement. Or if you get one of my contracts, it says option purchase and sales agreement. That's very, very clear, okay? What that means is that you have the option to purchase the property, or you have the option to assign the property, or sell the property, or sell that contract to someone else, okay? So if with that contract, I could buy it myself, or as a wholesaler, what I'm really trying to do is trying to get that property off and present it to another buyer, okay? Someone who's going to fix and flip it, someone who's going to stay in it for a long term, okay? That's what my overall goal is, okay? So what you need to do is you need to provide you need to market some way to attract those people. Once you can attract those individuals, and you can negotiate with them to get that price that you need to have it at, you can add what's called an assignment fee on top of that. So here's an example. We have a property, we get under contract for $30,000, right? Now the property might need $100,000 worth of work with the renovations, okay? So I would say, well, shoot, that's a lot of renovations. Yes, it is. Pretty much a complete new house, right? But let's say that property is in a hot neighborhood, or in a neighborhood where you know that homes there, when they're redone, are selling for $210,000, right? So if I get this property under contract for $30,000, I can sell it to someone. I can sell it to a buyer, someone who loves fixing and flipping, who loves going into that property and redoing the bathrooms and the kitchen and painting out the colors and hardwood floor and all that stuff, right? They're going to completely do that house over. They're going to spend $100,000. I can sell that piece of paper, that contract, for $40,000. Okay, so I get it under contract with the seller for $30,000, and then I can wholesale that property or sell it for an additional $10,000, which means that buyer is going to buy the property for $40,000. So you're saying, well, why would the buyer buy it for $40,000 if you got it for $30,000? Well, it's because I have that piece of paper, that contract. They can't get around me because I have the contract. They can't go around me and go straight to the buyer because I'm the conduit, right? I'm the vehicle that gets them from where they are to the house. There's no way to the house except for through me. There's other ways to do it, but typically there's no other way to do it but through me. And they know if they don't go through me, they run the risk of losing that deal. So I'm going to make $10,000. What that looks like is that on the closing day, they're going to wire over a total of $40,000 plus because they're going to wire over their closing costs with the attorney is, right? But let's say their closing cost is $3,000, right? And their the attorney, that's what the attorney fees are and the title company, whatever, right? And so $3,000 plus the price of what I'm putting on my contract, which is $40,000. So total, they're going to wire over $43,000. $3,000 goes to the lawyer or the title company, depending on what state you're in. $30,000 goes to the seller, and $10,000 goes to me. Now they're going to take that house that they just spent $43,000 total on, closing costs, my fee, the seller, total $43,000, and then they're going to throw on another $100,000, right, to pull permits and hit their contractors in there and redo the house from top to bottom. And that house is going to be beautiful. It's going to be the best house on the block. It's going to be brand spanking new for a total of what? $143,000. Okay. Let's just act like they're using their own money and we're not worried about holding costs and all this other stuff. Okay. So we can make this real complicated. But for simplicity, let's just say it's $143,000. They're all in at $143,000. And they turn around and they sell it for $210,000. Okay. So they just made $67,000. Okay. They just made $7,000 off of that property. Okay. Now, what we need to make sure that we understand that's the watered down version. That's the really quick version. But just understanding that, you should see as the wholesaler, I didn't put any money in. It wasn't my $100,000. It wasn't my $40,000. It wasn't my $3,000. None of that money came out of my pocket. My money came out of the pocket when I spent the money on the bandit sign, because I bought 100 bandit signs. If you know what the bandit signs are, you ever see like those little signs that you put on, they either stick them in the ground or they'll put them up on, a telephone pole or something like that, right? And it says, "We buy houses for cash" or something like that. That's a bandit sign. So I bought 100 of those. I spent about $130 with shipping. And I spent my time going out at 10 o'clock at night putting those bandit signs out in the evening, right? That's where I invested my time and my money in it. And because I put that bandit sign out, someone saw it, called it, and said, hey, they want to sell their house. But besides that, the rest of my money stays in my pocket, right? Or I spent some money on some Facebook marketing, like what I do, right? And I spent $1,500 or I spent $500 or I spent $1,000 paying Facebook to show my ads, right? But from that, I made $10,000. So I'm not actually spending money on the house. I'm spending money on acquiring the customer, acquiring the seller. So that's the basic gist of it. If you got any other questions, you can put that in there. Hello, everyone. My name is Warren from Decay. What's going on, Warren? How are you doing? If you guys have questions, please put questions in the chat. Just keep in mind, it does take a couple of seconds for me to see it. Just like right now, what you're hearing is about 15 seconds old. So whatever you're hearing, I said it 15 seconds ago. There's a big delay. So hopefully that answers your question. That's the overall gist. There are a lot of little mini steps to doing that. Like, for example, figuring out how to get the right number, right? In that example, that only works because I said that they could resell the property for $210,000. But how did I know that? There's a way to do that, right? There's a way to make sure that that right there. Sorry, my computer started to freeze up. All right. So that right there is a tricky part. That's a tricky part. I'm glad to hear that, Warren. I'm glad to hear that you're doing well. So that right there is a tricky part, because if you get that number wrong, the whole deal is dead, right? So you got to make sure that that deal that you have is a real deal before you start presenting it to potential buyers. All right. Any other questions, anybody? We're about to hop off here if there's not. Last time, once, going twice. And we're going to ask that one more time here. Just want to make sure that no one else's question pops in. Hopefully one day. I've been trying to figure this thing out for the last 2 weeks. I might need to move to Facebook Live. I think you can share your screen better on Facebook Live. Okay, well, Warren, please ask the question, because I'm about to hang up here. Ask the question in the text, in the message here. I'll wait. Type it up real quick, and I'll wait for the question. But so while we wait for Warren to type his question in there, make sure if you have a question, make sure you put it in here so we can answer it live and you can get your questions answered. If I say something you don't let me know, I don't understand that, you can let me know, obviously, and then I can answer that question for you. So go ahead, Warren, just waiting on your question. Warren might be one of those people, I don't know if you do you text well? You might be one of the people that like pick at the thing, so I'll give you a little extra time. If it's taking a little bit of time to type in your message. Cool. Again, we're going to be doing these. Lives every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Questions about specific deals. That was your question. Need to find money for marketing. So, Warren, that's really going to depend on how much money, right? I mean, how much money are we talking about? Like, I mean, are you talking about $100? Well, that's simple. Or are you talking about, $500,000, right? That might be a little more complex. Let me just, because I know it takes such a long time for me to get your response here, I think I'll do, let's just say $1,000, right? Let's say you need to get $1,000 from marketing, okay? What does that look like? All right. So number one, that's not a tip. That's not a raise for like property. So when I was saying that we talk about raising private capital, I was talking about specifically raising money for an asset, right? Something that someone can leverage, something that someone can put down. You need $250,000 for marketing. Okay. So that's a lot of money for a marketing budget. I don't know. Well, let me not say that. I don't know what your business is, but let's just say it's for housing. Okay. So one of the things that you can do is this. If you have an LLC, okay, if you have an LLC, I don't know if you know this, but you can leverage that LLC and get a minimum of 50 to 100, minimum of 50, but you can get anywhere between 50 to $100,000 per LLC in a business line of credit. Okay, so you can get lines of credit. Excuse me. You can get lines of credit up to a minimum of 50, all the way up to $100,000, right, for your first one. And then you can also leverage those to get more every year. Okay, so what I would do is you could literally get, if you want to say, if you know for a fact, all right, well, what it is true, a minimum of 50, then in that particular case, you would need what? 5 LLCs. And each one of those LLCs, you can get a minimum of $50,000 for, okay? Which would guarantee that you get the 250, right? I know a friend of mine, I am the CMO of a bank, and my friend is also the co-founder of it. And he did this a while ago. He needed to raise $1 million for some property. And so what he did is he got 10 LLCs, all right? So he got 10 LLCs. Each one of those LLCs, he got $100,000 for, which gave him his $1 million, okay? So what you can do, there's a process with our bank, and you can go to, I want you to go to 2 places. Actually, I'm gonna type it in here. First place I want you to go to, is there, and put your information in there, because we're going to be launching our regular depository accounts, our business accounts, and all those other things that come along with it there on that site, okay? And then I want you to go to then I want you to go to this site here. Oops. moneyav.com. And on moneyav.com, what you'll see on the right side, you'll see, sorry, I got something in my eye. You'll see where in a green tab, and it'll be a drop down menu, and it says Business Credit Builder. Okay, cool. So you have an LLC and a rental property. So you should be leveraging your LLC, but your LLC needs to be structured correctly. We'll walk you through that. It takes some time because we build this business credit completely separate from your social security number, right? So completely separate. You don't need your social security at all, okay? So when you do that, you'll, like I said, there's a little green tab to the right. When you go ahead and it'll be a drop down, and it says Business Credit Builder. Click on that, fill out the information. You'll see a drop down menu of like the user of names. If you look for my name, Holt, H-O-L-T, I think you get a percentage off or something like that. It's just a way of us keeping track of who people are going through it. But do that, man. And it takes a little bit of time, so you have to be patient because you have to build the business credit. But it's a lot better than you saving $250,000 of your own. And I don't know how much you make and how quickly it is, but it's, it's probably going to be faster too. Made Official Solutions. How long does it take to build your LLC credit? Anywhere between 4 to 6 months. Okay. But think about it. It's 4 to 6 months to get a minimum of $50K. That's completely detached. And here's the best part about it is that once you learn how to do it, you can do it for all your LLCs. You can literally just set up LLCs and do this, right? So you just got to go through the process one time, take good notes. We have our customer service is phenomenal. They'll walk you through it completely. But it's well worth it. It's well worth it. I'll tell you right now, it's, I think right now, because I think the price is going up, but I think right now it's $27.97. I think it is just under $2,800. All right. But again, you're trading $2,800 for a guaranteed amount of minimum of 50, right? You do have to follow the steps that people are, but it's not a course or anything like that. Like literally someone's going to get on the phone with you and say, okay, here, you need to do this, fill out this form, right? And you got to fill out the form. We can't fill out the form for you, right? hey, you need to apply for this. Here's exactly where to go, exactly what to say, because you could say the wrong thing, right? Getting proper business credit there's a lot of, I'll give you a nuance, okay? Your address has to be 100% correct and the same. So if you put your address is 123 Main Street, apartment 101, okay, and in that when you filed it, it says 123 Main, and you spelt out street, right? And you spelt out apartment 101. That has to match exactly. I had someone, actually my cousin, she was doing it, and they had a business address where it was suite. I think their business, let's just say it was 123 Main Street, suite 103 or whatever, right? In one of them, they spelt out suite, and the other one, they put STE or something like that, right? And that threw it off. Like, they were not getting approved. They couldn't move through the process. They finally, the customer service person, and this is why we have them, they finally did the background and the digging, and they looked at it and they say, boom, this is why it is. As soon as you fix that, it pushed you through to the next level. So you get the different tiers in business credit: tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 credit. You get your Dun and Brad, like, and your Paydex score, right? These are all things that say that this business is reputable and creditable, right? And we're willing to give them 50, 100. The beautiful thing about this is that if you follow the steps, this process will take you from a minimum of 50. And if you do what we tell you to and watch and you go through the process, you'll get your 50,000. And if you do what we tell you to, in about 2 to 3 years, you'll be up to about $500,000. All right. But we're not promising the 500. We do promise the 50. Okay. But the 500, you have to do what we're talking about, right? You can't go off and do your own thing. But we've done this it's over 10,000 clients that have come through this program, that have entered it and got their minimum of $50,000 to $100,000. So just got your DUNS number. That's dope. Perfect. Yeah, man, that's a big piece of it. So Made Official Solutions knows what we're talking about as far as going through that process, and at least getting their DUNS number. So that's a big part of it. But there's so many other little steps. And if you do them in the wrong order, or if you don't do them, if you fill out the paperwork wrong, there's so many like little hiccups that can happen that can throw you off. It's just well worth it, man, to have somebody that holds your hand and walks you through it. So that is one way that you can do it. I highly suggest, Warren, that you go through that process, man. It's a no-brainer to trade $2,800 for $50,000. All that's completely separate, meaning that we don't want this to happen. But what if? All right, I'll just speak from my experience. I've had multiple businesses fail, right? If you talk to anybody who's been a successful entrepreneur that works on their own, chances are they failed at a business or two, right? Warren Buffett, Jeff Bezos, like all these people, that we look at it and revere as, businessmen, right? Reputable business people, right? R. Donahue Peebles, right? A black billionaire, did it in development. He's had businesses that didn't work out, right? Yeah, he's had partnerships that haven't worked. So if that happens, God forbid that doesn't happen to you, but if it does happen, wouldn't you rather have it affect this business that you can shut down versus your credit, versus your social security number, right? So instead of it going bad and you not being, let's say you do this 50,000 and you like you said, you want to put it into marketing, right? You 250,000 into marketing, and it's just a bust work, right? That $250,000 that let's say you can't pay back because the business goes under. That $250,000 does not affect your personal credit one bit. Okay. If you had $250,000 in credit card debt that was attached to your social security number because you wanted to rush through the process, that would affect your credit card, your credit, your personal credit, right? So this is how large businesses operate, right? Most of us know this, but Jeff Bezos, the owner of Amazon, does not put his social security number down when it's time for him to buy another plant, right? Or when he needs to create another Amazon fulfillment facility, right? He leverages Amazon's business credit, right? And so why should you do anything different? This game, this entrepreneurship game, is a game where you need to be patiently active, meaning that there's a level of patience that you need to have so that you can get things done correctly. But while you're being patient, you actually have to work, right? It's not patient and just sit on your hands and do nothing. It's patience mixed with action. And so what we have to understand is that the action part as an entrepreneur, as an employee becoming an entrepreneur, and I don't know if you are or not, but as an employee, when I was an employee and I wanted to make that transition to entrepreneurship, it's a completely different mindset. Because as an employee, I was a government employee for a long time, right? I was joined the military at a young age, and then I became a police officer, right? So both two different government jobs, right? As a police officer, I was a police officer in the city of Miami, I was working in Liberty City projects, and in Liberty City projects around February, you got to keep in mind, in Miami, we're spoiled when it comes to weather, right? So there was like 1 or 2 days where it was rainy and the temperature dropped freezing cold, like 52 degrees. Now keep in mind, I'm laughing, right? Because 52 degrees to everybody else is not that cold. But in Miami, 52 degrees, people are losing their mind, okay? You add on to the fact that it's raining, nobody's out, right? Everybody's inside because it's too cold, okay? So as an employee, I could come to work as a police officer on that day and literally have no calls, do nothing, no traffic, nothing, right? I'm not stopping any crimes from happening because everybody's inside minding their business because nobody wants to come outside because it's so cold, right? And guess what? I can do that and still get paid the exact same amount, right? It can be a crazy day where we're getting shootouts and homicides and people getting robbed, or it can be a day where I'm just sitting in a police car, absolutely just twiddling my thumbs, doing nothing for 10 hours, okay? And still get paid the same exact amount. It doesn't work like that in entrepreneurship. You have to be patient in the understanding that this thing takes time, but it takes time while you work. You can't sit on your hands and do nothing. You have to work as if it's one of those crazy, crazy days, but you have to work like that for a long period of time before you get a payday, okay? Very few businesses take off on day 1 or day 30 or day 60 or day 90, right? And if they do, it's probably because that person has some level of influence. I'll give you an example. If Jay-Z wanted to start a wholesaling company, right, it would probably take off really quickly just because of his name. But you have to think about it. Did it really take off on day 1, or did it take off on 20 years ago when he started to build his brand, right? Or maybe longer than that, right? So just be mindful of that, man. That you're coming onto this thing if you want to do this to be patiently active. Okay. All right. Cool. Well, listen, man. I don't get any more questions, so I'm about to hop off here because I'm starving. And Chris, my fiance, my beautiful fiance, soon-to-be wife, is hungry too, and so I gotta go get some food. So, all right, guys, we're gonna hop off, man. I'll be back on every Wednesday. Do me a favor, go ahead and make sure that you schedule in this because I really want to be this vessel, man, and just help people get through this process. But I can't help you if you don't have any questions. So every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'm gonna be hopping on here just to do a quick little chat, man. Just pop in here and see what questions you guys have, and if you don't, we're gonna pop out. But appreciate you guys tuning in, and I hope to see you guys next Wednesday. Peace.